Mr. Speaker, last week the Treasury issued a very important document relevant for the problems we are enduring as an economy and as a country today. It's a report into the long-term insights briefing, and specifically it's about the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And it is perhaps unsurprising that we've just learned this afternoon that Chris Hipkins and Aisha Verrill and Grant Robertson and Jacinda Ardern are refusing to front up to the COVID-19 Royal Commission and answer public questions about the economic response to COVID. Why are they refusing to do that? Because they are ashamed of their record, and they know that held up to the light, the decisions they made in 2020 and 2021 and 2 have led us into the problems we are enduring today. Barbara Edmonds says, oh, the government was operating in difficult times. No one disputes that. But actually, it was really clear from the second half of 2020 and into 2021 that further stimulus of the New Zealand economy was not only not required, it was counterproductive. The Treasury makes the point, 36% of spending for the COVID response occurred after June 2021. Why is this date important? It's important because at that point GDP had already returned to its pre-pandemic levels, and inflation was already outside the band and approaching 7.3%. 36% of spending occurred after June 2021. From financial year 2015 to 2019, core Crown debt was actually flat. It actually went down a bit. But from 2019 to 23, net core Crown debt increased by 169% to $155 billion. And David Seymour, Deputy Prime Minister, says, what do we have to show for that? Very good question. Our health system is not 169% better off. Our education system is absolutely not 169% better off. Our economy is not 169% better off. That is the debt disaster this government inherited. That is the inflation disaster this government inherited. That is the cause of the recession this government inherited. Faced with an environment in which the government and governments all around the world were pulling back, the Labor government did the opposite. They put the pedal to the metal on the spending accelerator. Budget 2022 was the nadir. $6 billion in the operating allowance of new spending, and on top of that, the cost of living payment counted outside the allowances according to rules made up by Grant Robertson at the time. Remember the cost of living payment? That was the payment that went to French backpackers who hadn't worked in New Zealand for 10 years, dead people, investment bankers in London who lived here 5 years ago who happened to have an IRD account. This reckless, wanton spending. Labor were in government at a time when they could use the excuse of COVID to follow every fiscal fantasy they'd ever wanted to indulge. Hence why we ended up with the Jobs for Nature program. Hence why we ended up with welfare increases. Hence why we ended up with shovel-ready or alleged shovel-ready projects, some of which are still being built 5 years later. Labor were in government at a time when they had the excuse to point to massively increase spending. The problem is all New Zealanders have had to pay the price. We paid the price through higher debt that my kids and his kids will have to repay. We are paying the price through years of inflation and high interest rates to get inflation back within the band that has crunched the economy and put New Zealand into recession. It is this government, as David Seymour says, that is making the tough choices after years of fiscal fantasies. The country can't afford Labor. We are taking the hard decisions to get this country back on track.